bad performance means that they would drop down to the lower division of Juryo. Well, this is the man, Takanohana, who's back in again, the Yokozuna. Well, his knee's a bit wobbly, but it's maybe not so much his knee condition, but his mental condition that will be the decider here. Number of envelopes that were ever won in an individual bout. Well, 28. It's quite a big heap of envelopes. Now we have Takanohana. What's his knee like? Is he going to be able to stand up to the stresses and strains of sumo? He's fighting Wakano Sato, a very powerful wrestler, some 10 kilos heavier than himself, which is not a great amount. Takanohana's met him 8 times in the past and beaten him 8 times. Although he's been out of sumo for quite some time, has the Yokozuna. And how's this one going to go? Wakano Sato's strong enough when he locks in. I would say that Takanohana's got the technique. Once he gets the belt, Takanohana looking a bit overweight there. Quite so compact as he used to look. Let's see how this one goes. It's a make or break basho for this Yokozuna. So even start for both wrestlers. Now Wakano Sato gets round behind. He's got the big man on the go there. And it looked to me like Wakano Sato had that one, but the referees, the Gyoji, has given it to Takanohana. Well, some doubt there. Maybe they both fell at the same time. In which case it would be a rematch. But it was touch and go there. A wobbly start for Takanohana. Wakano Sato almost got round behind him and shoved him out. Well, it's first win anyway, whatever. There was no objection from any of the umpires that sit around the ring. And so he's looking a little bit happier there as he goes down the flower path, the Hanamichi, down to the Shitakubeya. Well, let's just watch this one again. But there you see, Wakano Sato almost turns him round behind. And there, that's a very dangerous moment for the Yokozuna. He's trying a leg hook. Yes, but I think it was Wakano Sato's shoulder who touched down first. Stay with us, we'll be back very shortly with day 2 of the basho. Takes a win. Musoyama and Tochiazuma both lost. Takanowaka, Sekiwaki rank 1. But Kotomitsuki lost, so as we go down the ranks from the top, some wins, some losses at each of the top levels. This is the man that all the attention's on. Takanohana, noble flower from the Futagoyama stable. Well, it's a slowish stamp down there in this Yokozuna ring entering ceremony. Normally they stamp the leg down pretty hard. It looks slightly stiff there. He's at Ozeki rank. He's expected to not drop more than about 3 bouts per basho. Ozeki normally turn in about 12 wins per basho. Now we have Takanohana against Miyabiyama. They fought 10 times. Takanohana's won 10 of them. Now there's that right knee, the suspect right knee of Takanohana's. When he came back into the ring last time, when he turned in a 12-win performance, he rubbed his knee with the sacred salt, almost as a good luck charm. Is his knee up to it? Now Miyabiyama's 178 kilos, Takanohana 149. That's about a 30-kilo weight difference between the two of them. Miyabiyama, a rather rough, ungainly fighter, comes out and slaps hard. So a bit head-banging start there. Takanohana goes slightly to the side, but he locks on the belt, and when he's on the belt with that right hand of his, he's almost unstoppable. The grip's broken, and there's an enormous throw there from Miyabiyama. Well, who got that one? But Takanohana stood there as Miyabiyama turned in with what looked to me like an enormous judo throw. There it goes, Haraigoshi in judo. Look, spins him over. Difficult to say who touched down first. In fact, so no, it's dotai, which means they both fell at the same time, and that was one enormous throw that Takanohana was on the receiving end of. So it's a rematch. Let's see how the grand champion handles this one again. And, well, look at that. But when he's under pressure, he just pulls out that big overarm throw and spins Miyabiyama over. Well, he should have done that first time out. A little bit of a shaky start for the Yokozuna. His first bout on day one was shaky. That one was touch and go. But eventually he pulls it out the bag, but a win's a win. Took one hell of a throw from that one. Well, this is the man. You can see the media, the TV, the journalists all around him. Tremendous attention. He never says a word or hardly ever talks to them. But stay with us. We'll be back for day 3. Takanohana, his Oyakata said his shoulder wasn't too bad and he can continue fighting. Well, it's been a long time since a Yokozuna dropped out for a day and then came back again. Way back in 1954, I think, was the last time it happened. And here he comes into the basement of the Kokugikan. It's the Ozeki and the Yokozuna ranks that are allowed to come into the Kokugikan by car. The rest have to travel as best they can. And there he is, surrounded by his attendants. A Yokozuna would have up to 10 attendants to assist him in his daily tasks. Well, his shoulder was bad. His stable boss said that he could hardly lift his arm up after the bout. But anyway, he seems to be able to do it now. And here he's doing his Yokozuna Dohyo Iri. Although it was noticeable when he did it a couple of days ago that he had trouble lifting his leg up. Certainly doesn't stamp it down very hard. Well, a little gentle stamp there. Said by some to symbolize the crushing of skulls or perhaps the driving out of devils from the ring. Well, he's doing his Yokozuna Dohyo Iri just over the center of the ring where sacred objects are buried, always buried at the start of a tournament. Far. Right now, there's the bout. It's Takanohana against Toki. Well, Toki is a rough Rikishi, uses his arms. There's his brother, there's the one-time Yokozuna, Wakanohana, watching from the side. He's now a television personality, presenter in Japan. So Takanohana, the last time he fought, he really went flying over from a massive throw. And that's when he hurt his shoulder, but he seems to be all right. It wasn't his knee that went. So Toki some 30 kilos heavier than the Yokozuna on the left there. There's those long arms of Toki. But Takanohana will try and close him down. He'll try and get his hand on Toki's belt. Toki is not putting up with any of this. He's driving the Yokozuna back. Yokozuna still hasn't got the belt. He's not looking at all comfortable there. He can't get Toki's belt. He's trading pushes, which is unusual for him. And finally, Toki goes over the edge. Well, Takanohana won that one. But I wouldn't say it was a comfortable win. He looked unsteady in the ring there, and his face shows it. He didn't like that bout. He knows he's hanging on by a thread these days. So that's Takanohana with 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 missed one day when he sat it out. Well, I wonder what's going through his head. Is he thinking, is it worth it? Can I carry on? Do I want to put in bouts like that in the future? Let's watch this one again. There's Toki's long arms. Now, normally Takanohana gets the belt. When he gets the belt, he's almost unstoppable. But here he doesn't either seem to be going for it. There's a slap against his face. There's a throat push from Toki. Well, they're not a great respecter of ranks in Japan. Well, I say that they are actually, but when it's fighting, they're not so respectful. There's a slap to the face. Well, it's an exciting bout. Well, at the end of day 5, we have Asashoryu solely in the lead with 5 straight wins. Here's the man being interviewed by the press corps, but he never says very much. But stay with us. We'll be back after the break with more sumo. Asashoryu is in the lead with 5 straight wins. He's looking for a tournament win here, which will qualify him for the rank of Yokozuna. Chairman of the Sumo Association has said if he gets at least 13 wins, he'll be promoted. Oh, this is Takanohana. He's hanging on with his wins. So apart from Asashoryu, who's in the sole lead, we have 7 wrestlers with 4 wins and 1 loss. Kotoryu, Dejima, Kaiho, Tosonoumi, Takami, Sakari, Takanotsuru and Kasuga-o. But it's comparatively early days in this basho. But it seems most likely that Asashoryu will stay in the lead. I think Takanohana would have a hard time dealing with him. Well, it's not the old sparkle that we knew from the Yokozuna. He's not exactly crushing skulls under his feet when he brings his foot down. Now there's the bout that everybody's been waiting for. There's his father and stable boss, the Futagoyama Oyakata. And he watches as his son comes up to fight Tosonoumi. Tosonomi's beaten Wakanohana 4 times. Not Wakanohana, correction there, Takanohana 4 times in the past. Can he do it again? Well, virtually all the bouts we've seen of Takanohana so far have been a bit wobbly. He lost one, won 4. Not very overwhelmingly in command, and he lost 1. Now here he fights Tosonoumi. They take the water, which is to rinse the mouth, to purify the mouth, not to have a swig. Come out, they crouch down, they eyeball each other, chuck salt out, do a little bit of shiko, the foot stamp at the edge. It's all minutely laid down. Eventually the tension mounts up, and then it's ready to go time. Tosonoumi comes hard forward and is sidestepped. Well, he won there, and he won easily, but he won in a way a Yokozuna shouldn't win. He sidestepped. Yokozuna are meant to go full on, full frontal slamming into the opponent. Well, he won, and that's that. So it's another win for Takanohana. And he looks a lot more comfortable there. Well, he might settle down. He might come through to the end and challenge Asashoryu, barring any upsets, for the Mongolian. Here's Asashoryu having his hair done in one part of the preparation room, and here's the press corps around. Takanohana with 2 shaky wins, then took a loss on a day off, then managed 2 more shaky wins. Considering his long 8 basho layoff and knee injury, it has become clear that he is a shadow of his former self. A few more losses this basho and he will have to retire. Comes to all Yokozuna at some point. But Takanohana managed to convince the sumo elders that with time he would recover his old form and recover from his Hatsu basho. It will be a relief, no doubt, for the elders of sumo, the Toshiyori, the ruling council of the Sumo Kyokai, to see him go. Sumo needs to continually renew itself. At the start of day 6, we have Mongolian Asashoryu in the lead with 6 straight wins. And a step behind, Dejima, Takami, Sakari, Kotoryu and Kasuga-o with 5-year style from Asashoryu. Just a couple of bashos ago, he was more or less doing non-stop tsuppari attacks. That's slaps to the face and upper body. And then he changed abruptly to very classical sumo, and he's doing it extremely well. Now we have Takanohana against Dejima. Takanohana's got 4 wins. The last win he had, he sidestepped yesterday. That's when he fought Tosonoumi, and that is not good Yokozuna style. A lot of criticism of him for that. These 2 have fought 16 times in the past, and Takanohana's won 13 of them. But he hasn't spent a lot of time in the dohyo in the last year and a half or so. And Dejima's fast off the block. He's a skillful ex-collegiate champion. He's got a range of techniques. There's one fault is that he can be stopped in his tracks. Needs to keep his feet going as he charges out. But these ex-amateur champions tend to be more technical than the traditional ones that come in at the age of 15 in the stable. There's that fast start I was talking about, drives forward, and then he grabs Takanahana's leg and down he goes. So the grand champion takes another loss. Dejima there, winning comfortably, does it from the tachi-eye, drives him with his head, takes him straight back. There's the head, there's the drive, right to the edge. Look for the leg grab, there it is, and down goes Takanahana on his back, right on the edge, and dumped outside. 6th win for Dejima. He seems to be back on track. His previous basho was 10 wins and 5 losses. Well, what's going through the grand champion's head now? That's another loss against a man he would have beaten easily not so long ago. So at the end of day 7, we have Asa Shoryu in the lead with 7 straight wins, no losses, and behind him Dejima Kotoryu Takami Sakari with 6 wins and 1 loss. Stay with us, we'll be back after the break. This is the ring entering ceremony. I guess many of the crowd are wondering if this is going to be the last time that he does it. There's his father and Oyakata, Futogoyama stable boss, watching his Yokozuna Dohyo Iri. And it's full house again on day 8. Now this is perhaps a moment in sumo history. Takanahana, who lost yesterday to Dejima with Watashi Komi, here against Aminishiki. Well, he should be able to dispose of Aminishiki fairly easily. Aminishiki had 9 wins in the previous basho, but before that he had 3 Maki Koshis in the 3 previous basho. So he's not really much of an opponent for the Yokozuna, but he's a wily, skinny, active fighter, quite technical. Takanahana not looking too confident there by the look of that. Big deep breath as he comes out for the final crouch down. Now Takanahana, the man who won 22 tournaments in the past. And Aminishiki comes out, gets round behind the grand champion and forces him out. And it's Aminishiki takes the win, and that's the 2nd loss in a row for the grand champion. Well, that's got to be it. I can't really see how he'll continue after this. His shoulder didn't look to be particularly painful. His knees seem to be all right, but his movements are slow, and mentally he seems to have lost it. So that's his 3rd win so far in this tournament. Let's watch that one again. Aminishiki very quickly manages to get hold of his arm, spins him round, gets round behind, almost there you see, almost round the back, and then he takes Takanahana right to the edge, and there's a shove, and he sends the Yokozuna over the edge. Well, here he is, surrounded by the press, and he never says a word to them. He's not a very sympathetic interviewee as far as the Japanese media is concerned. He just sits there with almost Buddha-like face. A Buddha with a cauliflower ear, though, it has to be said. So he's looking maybe a little bit lighter. Maybe he thinks to himself, that's it, I'm going to retire now. It's a long, hard life. He's been in pro sumo, Makuuchi sumo, since 1990, nearly 13 years. Well, we'll find out tomorrow, was it? Stay with us. We'll be back very shortly. And this morning, the stable boss, his father, Futogoyama Oyakata, announced Takanahana's retirement. So after almost 23 years in the sumo ring from when he first came in as a young man, he's now finally come to the end of a long road. So he said that there's a lot of weight been lifted off him now that he's made up his mind. He feels good about it. And, well...